Okay, you know how I said in my last video that the next video would be the Candle Cove speed paint? That's being put on hold for now. I wanted to remake and continue some videos up on my art channel. The idea behind the videos was essentially, what would characters from this webcomic I like look like if the comic got a reboot? So I recorded myself quickly scribbling out some redesigns, but the redesigns sucked, and my voiceovers were garbage, and the editing was garbage, and the videos were never finished. Point is, I'm remaking those videos as one long video, and there will be more designs to come. I might do something with them later if I get permission to do so. This is my new passion project, deal with it. Also, is it normal to send fan art to content creators? Because I feel like I have a moral obligation to subject Lady Creepypasta, or whatever name she goes by now, to the abominations that I've made her characters into. Anyway, onto the speed paints. Now, while I'm working on Lady's redesign here, I feel like I should point out that this is entirely from a place of love. I've been a fan of the Creepy Crew for almost 6.5 years, and I wanted to pay homage to it in the only way I know how to. That said, I will be finding a way to send this video to the creator to make sure she approves, and if she doesn't, I'll take the video down out of respect for her and her creations. Additionally, for reference, I'm not redesigning all of the characters, that would take ages. I'm only redesigning the ones that either I felt had a weaker design in the comic, or I just wanted to do fan art of, and I'll explain my design choices for each. Lady Masterman had a pretty solid design, but her color scheme was a little on the monochromatic side. This is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can make a character harder to put into a scene. So I brightened her hair color a bit and gave her outfit a color scheme consisting of gray, red, and black rather than just all black. I also tried drawing an alternate outfit for her, but it didn't turn out well. Not a lot to say here, I didn't make very many changes. Up next, we have Ben. I'll be honest, my process here was, I have a specific idea of what this character would look like, and it's either draw him to satisfy the goblin in my brain, or drive my friends and family nuts with headcanons. So here we go. I wanted Ben to look less like a Link clone and more like his own character, so I removed the hat and designed his outfit by combining multiple Link outfits from multiple games. I also lightened his hair and eye color and made his hair fluffier to give him a more distinct silhouette, you know? I like the idea of him looking slightly demonic, so I added tiny horns and removed the pupils from his eyes. I also like the idea of him looking more demonic when he's angry, so we have the creepy eyes from the webcomic, fangs and talon-like fingernails. I also made his hair wilder for some reason, and I think it adds a nice effect. Okay, let me rant for a hot minute. This has nothing to do with the creepy crew itself, but Jeff's canon design? This thing that I'm putting on screen right now? It fills me with utter, seething rage. Not only is it incredibly medically inaccurate, but on top of that, it looks like the Joker and a trout had some kind of horrific demon spawn love child. So this is a general redesign, not specific to the webcomic. First order of business was to do away with the paper white complexion. He now has a more human skin tone modeled with blotchy burn scars as he was set on fire in his backstory. He gets to keep the dark hair, but I made his eyebrows and eyelashes brown, because my personal headcanon is that his hair was burned off during the incident, and once it grew back, he dyed it black. I also turned his still open Glasgow grin into a scar, which means it's less visible, but it's definitely still there. After that, I made a couple modifications to his outfit, and I was done. Patchwork Alice's redesign was the first in this series that was purely fan art. It's a faithful adaptation of how she's described in her origin story. The only part of the design that's my own is the ponytail tied up in a bow. She had a really good design, and Bitstrips could not do her justice. I like Hannah as a character, but honestly her design is one of the weaker ones in the comic. She looks a bit like a female Jeff, right down to having a kitchen knife for a weapon. So she gets a complete overhaul. She's supposed to be part of the goth subculture, so instead of going with the mall goth vibe she originally had, I decided to go with a classic goth look and turned her into a friggin' vampire queen looking beauty. I'm actually the most proud of how her design turned out in the end. I'll forgive the mostly black color scheme since, goth, but I did add a pop of red to her design. I also spruced up her makeup a bit, tied her hair in a bun, and made her weapon into a thame? A thame? A tame? Ritual knife. Yes.
Thank you.
Iris is another character that I like, who unfortunately didn't have a great design. She's supposed to have a plant motif, but it's not totally clear what kind of plant, and she's the third character I've redesigned so far who wears all black. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened 3 times. Anyway, the first change I made was her color scheme. Instead of black and white, it's green and red, specifically a kind of forest green and a pinkish red. I also changed the style of her dress, taking inspiration from 2015 prom dresses because aesthetique. I gave her a specific plant motif while I was at it. I chose climbing roses, firstly because vines, and secondly because climbing roses are pretty. I incorporated the flowers more into her design, so now she has rose blooms in her hair and on her dress. I changed her hair and makeup a bit too. I gave her red lipstick to fit her new color scheme, and since her hair used to be blonde in story, I gave her dark hair with streaks of blonde as a callback to her backstory. By the way, take note of those Lily of the Valley blossoms she's holding. They'll be significant in the later speed paint. Time to redesign the Zalgo followers. I'm gonna start with Zalgo himself since his design is... suffice to say he didn't translate over to bit strips all that well. I pulled various descriptors of him off the Villains Wiki, TV Tropes, and Know Your Meme, so technically what I drew is how he semi-canonically looks. He apparently has no eyes, which I choose to interpret as his eyes being sewn shut. He has jet black skin, but that would have blended in with the line art, so I went with dark gray. According to the Villains Wiki, he has 4 arms, one of which holds a black hole, and another which holds a candle that gives off shadows instead of light, so I went with that. I made his really weird hairstyle into a set of horns that resembles a crown, and adapted his outfit to be all fancy schmancy since I get the impression that he was a really snooty and full of himself demon lord. I also gave him a cool cape thing that has a space motif, which was really fun to draw. I've actually redesigned Ropster multiple times in the past, but I'm always unhappy with how she turns out. This time, though, I'm pretty pleased with what I got. Since she's a reincarnation of the demoness Jakara, I tried to blend Jakara and Lady's features a bit more than what we got canonically. Her hair is the same color I used for Lady, and so are her eyes, save for the pink gradient, which comes from Jakara. Man, I'm saying the name Jakara a lot. I made Ropster look more like an adult as a callback to her old self as well. Since she gave me a dark priestess / evil overlord vibe, I made her outfit into a cool looking hooded dress using some art I found on Google Images as a reference. I don't know who made the drawing, but if any of you do, I'd appreciate it if you'd let me know so I can give proper credit. Then I added a choker because I thought it would look cool. I made her color scheme mostly purple since she just seemed like the type to wear purple a lot. And there we go, one Ropster. The Observer was kind of an odd character to design. There's not a lot you can do with a shadow person that's unique, but I did my best. I based his design off of the murals of the diamonds from Steven Universe, and I used a different brush than I normally do to give a kind of blurry effect. I also did this on only like 1 or 2 layers, because, you know, it's a really simplistic character. Yeah, I haven't really got a lot to say here. Moving on, I guess. Again, this one was mostly just fan art. I did try something a little different with the floating limbs, but that's about it. So you get to just watch my process. Honestly, I just had to draw Sally. She is baby, and I would die for her. She's so precious. I love her. But anyway, this is sort of a mix between her canon design and her design in the Creepy Crew. She's got the pigtails, and she's got the outfit and the color scheme from her original. There's really not a whole lot to say here. I just wanted to draw this character because she's adorable and I would adopt her if I could. Okay, so a lot of redesigning Dark Link was just kind of throwing ideas at the wall and seeing what would stick, as well as a lot of speculation. I figure since he's a mini-boss from the Water Temple in Ocarina of Time, then he's probably some kind of water spirit. Keeping that in mind, I made his color scheme mostly blues and grays. His design was very similar to Ocarina of Time's Adult Link. This was done on purpose, because, you know, Dark Link. And interesting thing, the whole sketchy watercolor line art, I actually hadn't originally intended to do that, but I liked the way it looked, and so I decided to keep it. I think it adds to his water spirit vibe pretty well. Okay, we're gonna finish off part 1 with a redesign of Sully, aka SCP-364, aka everyone's favorite lecherous lycanthrope. Now this was a design that I'd already done ages ago, and so I didn't deviate much from that. Mostly I made him look a bit more animalistic, dog ears, a tail. He's supposed to have a cleft lip, but it's hard to tell in this drawing. And I changed his outfit to fit with his general, I guess you could say his general vibe, which means he now walks around, shirtless, with a jacket and skinny jeans, and barefoot, and, you know, that's totally in character now that I think about it. And of course I have him in a dramatic little pose here, because he would totally do that. Yeah. So, if you had the patience to make it all the way through this entire video, good for you. This is actually pretty long by my standards. Well, there's gonna be more of these. This is my newest hyperfixation. Do not talk to me for the next few months unless you want to hear me go on nonstop about my attempts, my master plan to revive this years-old comic that is never going to be updated. Yeah, I'll see you when I see you. So, hey, goodbye.